High Admiral Kethrock stood on the bridge of his massive command ship, watching the largest fleet in Dominion history prepare for battle. 500 capital ships stretched out in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming in the light of distant stars. Behind them came 2,000 cruisers and 10,000 fighters. "Admiral," his tactical officer reported, "all ships are ready for the final approach to the human system." "Excellent," Kethrock replied, his multiple eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "This primitive species will learn what happens when they defy the Dominion." The alien fleet had taken weeks to assemble. Ships had come from every corner of the Dominion, empire representing the military might of 12 different species. Never before had so much firepower been gathered in one place. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving the latest intelligence reports from command." Kethrock reviewed the data. "So, the humans are still hiding behind their planet. No additional ships detected, no new defenses. It appears they are hoping we will show mercy," suggested Commander Velthar. "There will be no mercy," Kethrock declared. "We will destroy everything in that system as an example to other species who might resist us." The Dominion fleet entered Earth's solar system with overwhelming confidence. Their sensors showed the same readings as before. A few small space stations, some basic ships near the planet, nothing that could threaten such a massive armada. On Earth, Admiral Kyung-Soo received the final confirmation that the alien fleet had arrived. He sat in what looked like a simple command center on an asteroid mining station, but appearances were very deceiving. "All units, this is Phoenix Command." Kyung-Soo spoke into his secure communication system. "The package has arrived. Begin Operation Revelation." Throughout the solar system, things that had seemed normal for decades began to change. The asteroid mining station where Kyung-Soo worked suddenly transformed. Huge sections of rock fell away, revealing a battleship larger than any Dominion vessel. Captain Bora watched from her position on the moon as similar transformations occurred everywhere. "Phoenix Command, this is Luna Base. All defensive systems are online and ready." What the aliens had thought was a simple lunar research facility opened like a flower. Massive weapon emplacements rose from hidden underground chambers. Fighter bays that had been concealed beneath false surface installations prepared to launch thousands of aircraft. Commander Sang-wook activated the Jupiter defense grid from his position near the gas giant. What had appeared to be simple research, probes around Jupiter's moons revealed their true nature as heavily armed battle platforms. "Phoenix Command, this is Jupiter Station. All orbital platforms ready. We have clear targeting on the approaching fleet." High Admiral Kethrock stared at his tactical display in growing confusion. "What is happening? I'm seeing massive energy signatures throughout this system." "Sir," his sensor operator called out. In panic, the contacts are appearing everywhere. Ships, stations, weapons platforms. They're coming out of asteroids, moons, even empty space. The truth was finally revealed. Earth's solar system wasn't a simple star system with one inhabited planet. It was a fortress that had been under construction for over 50 years. Every asteroid had been hollowed out and turned into a weapons platform. Every moon concealed military installations. Even the space between planets was filled with hidden defenses. Captain Jinwoo launched from what had appeared to be a simple cargo container floating in space. His fighter craft was unlike anything the Dominion had ever seen, capable of moving faster than their sensors could track. "All fighter wings, this is Storm Leader," Jinwoo reported. "The aliens are about to see what a real space force looks like." Lieutenant Minji coordinated the drone swarms that emerged from seemingly empty regions of space. Thousands of small automated fighters appeared around the alien fleet, moving in perfect coordination. "Phoenix Command, this is Swarm Control. We have the enemy fleet surrounded, awaiting orders to engage." Major Hanul commanded a battle station that had been disguised as a space construction platform. As its true nature was revealed, it showed weapons capable of destroying entire squadrons with single shots. "Phoenix Command, this is Hammer Station. We have a clear shot at their command ship." High Admiral Kethrock watched in horror as his supposedly overwhelming fleet found itself surrounded by enemies that outnumbered them 3-1. The humans hadn't been hiding behind their planet. They had been hiding throughout their entire solar system. "How is this possible?" he demanded. Our intelligence showed this system was nearly empty. Admiral, his intelligence officer replied in a shaking voice, I think our intelligence was wrong, very wrong. The human fleet that revealed itself was beyond anything the Dominion had imagined. Their ships were sleek and advanced, using technologies that made Dominion vessels look primitive. More importantly, there were thousands of them. Admiral Kyung-soo opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. Hi, Admiral Kethrock. This is Admiral Kyung-soo of the Earth Defense Force. You are completely surrounded. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated according to galactic law. Never, Kethrock shouted back. We have 500 capital ships. You cannot defeat the might of the Dominion. Admiral, Kyung-soo replied calmly, you're looking at this wrong. You brought 500 ships into a system defended by 5,000. This isn't a battle. It's a trap. Kethrock looked at his tactical display again. The numbers were impossible to argue with. Human ships surrounded his fleet from every direction. Weapons platforms on dozens of moons and asteroids had targeting locks on his vessels. Fighter craft swarmed around his formation like angry insects. Begin the attack, he ordered desperately. All ships, fire everything. The alien fleet opened fire with every weapon they had. Thousands of plasma beams and missile volleys shot toward the human defenders. But the human ships were ready. Advanced shield systems absorbed the enemy fire, while return shots cut through alien hulls like paper. Captain Jinwoo led his fighter wing in an attack on the alien command ship. Storm leader to all fighters. Remember, we want prisoners. Disable their engines and weapons, but try to keep the ships intact. The battle was completely one-sided. The Dominion ships were powerful, but they were designed to fight enemies that used similar tactics. They had never faced an opponent that could attack from every direction at once, while remaining almost impossible to hit. Lieutenant Minji's drone. Swarms confused the alien targeting systems by moving in unpredictable patterns. Swarm control to Phoenix Command. Enemy targeting efficiency is down to 12%. They can't lock onto our drones. Major Hanel's battle station fired a single shot that destroyed 3 alien cruisers. Hammer Station to Phoenix Command. Their shields can't handle our focused plasma bursts. This is almost too easy. Within 2 hours, half of the Dominion fleet was disabled or destroyed. The remaining ships found themselves trapped with no way to escape. Human vessels blocked every possible retreat route. High Admiral Kethrock realized his situation was hopeless. His magnificent fleet, the pride of the Dominion, was being systematically destroyed by an enemy he had thought was primitive. Admiral Kyung-soo's voice came through the communication system again. This is your final chance to surrender. You've lost half your fleet already. Don't force us to destroy the rest. Kethrock looked around his bridge at his terrified crew. Outside, human ships waited for his decision. He had brought the largest fleet in Dominion history to crush a primitive world, only to discover that the primitives had been preparing for his arrival for decades. He began, then stopped. How could he surrender? How could he explain to the Dominion Council that their most powerful fleet had been defeated so easily? But as he watched another wave of his ships being destroyed by human fighters, Kethrock realized he had no choice. The humans had turned his own tactics against him. They had brought overwhelming force to the battle, just like the Dominion always did. The difference was that the humans had been much better at hiding their true strength. All Dominion ships, he said quietly into his communication system, cease fire and prepare to surrender. The largest fleet in galactic history had been defeated by an enemy they had thought was helpless. And as High Admiral Kethrock would soon learn, this wasn't even Earth's real military. This was just their home defense force. The emergency session of the Dominion Council was unlike any in their 1,000-year history. High Chancellor Mordak sat at the head of the massive table, his 4 eyes glowing with anger. Around him, representatives from 12 different alien species argued loudly. Impossible, shouted General Vorketh, pounding his scaled fist on the table. No primitive species could destroy 50 of our battleships. The report is confirmed, said Intelligence Director Yulmax, her tentacles waving, nervously. Commander Kralnex escaped the battle. His ship's recordings show the entire engagement. High Chancellor Mordak activated the holographic display. The Council watched in stunned silence as human ships appeared from nowhere and systematically destroyed Admiral Vextar's fleet. The alien leaders had never seen anything like it. They must have hidden allies, declared Admiral Thekron. Perhaps one of the species we have not yet conquered is helping them. No, Yulmax replied. Our deep space sensors show no other ships in that system. These were definitely human vessels. Meanwhile, on Earth, Major Seokjin sat in a hidden listening post monitoring alien communications. His team had been intercepting Dominion messages for years, learning their language and understanding their military procedures. The aliens are confused, reported Technician Inho, adjusting his headset. They keep arguing about how we defeated their fleet. What are they saying about reinforcements? Seokjin asked. They're mobilizing something called the Pacification Armada, Inho translated. It sounds big, sir. Really big. Seokjin nodded and activated his secure communication line. Command, this is Listening Post 7. The aliens are preparing a massive response. They're calling it their Pacification Armada. General Minho's voice came through the speaker. How massive? We're intercepting reports of 500 capital ships, sir, plus thousands of smaller vessels. They're pulling forces from across their empire. There was a pause before Minho responded. Good. That's exactly what we wanted. At the Dominion capital, High Chancellor Mordak made his decision. We will assemble the largest fleet in our history. These humans and their allies will learn the price of defying the Dominion. Sir, Intelligence Director Yulmax said carefully, perhaps we should study their technology first. Our captured ships show weapons and shields we don't understand. Nonsense, Mordak replied. No primitive species can stand against the full might of the Dominion. We will send so many ships that their advanced weapons won't matter. Back on Earth, Major Wanho worked alongside Dr. Jiwon in the captured alien flagship. They had been studying Dominion technology for weeks, learning how their enemies thought and fought. Their weapons are powerful but simple, Dr. Jiwon explained to the research team. They rely on brute force rather than precision. What about their tactics, asked Major Wanho. Basic overwhelming assault, Dr. Jiwon replied, pointing to the alien tactical computer. They gather a big fleet, attack all at once, and keep shooting until the enemy surrenders. It's worked for them for centuries. Major Wanho studied the alien battle records. Look at this. Every species they conquered had the same defensive strategy. They built big ships, formed battle lines, and tried to outshoot the Dominion fleet. And they all lost, Dr. Jiwon observed. The Dominion always had more ships. But we're not going to fight them the same way, Wanho smiled. Are we? In the Earth Defense Command Center, General Minho gathered his senior staff. Commander Hyun, Admiral Nari, and the other leaders sat around the secure briefing table. The aliens are doing exactly what we expected, Minho began. They're sending their biggest fleet to crush us with overwhelming numbers. Sir, Admiral Nari asked, shouldn't we be worried? Our rapid response units barely defeated their first wave. General Minho smiled. Admiral, what did we tell Captain Doyun's team about their mission? To make it look like they were our entire fleet, she replied slowly. Exactly. The aliens think they just defeated Earth's main military force. They have no idea what our real capabilities are. Commander Hyun looked confused. Sir, I don't understand. What was Captain Doyun's fleet if it wasn't our main force? Hyun, Minho said gently. Those ships were from our Rapid Response Division. They're designed for quick strikes against small enemy forces. They represent about 2% of our actual military strength. The room fell silent. Even Earth's top military leaders didn't know the full extent of their planet's defenses. 2%? Admiral Nari whispered. The ships that defeated 50 alien battleships were just our scouts, Minho explained. Wait until the aliens see what we built to fight real wars. Dr. Jiwon's analysis had revealed something important about the Dominion's conquest pattern. Every species they had defeated used the same basic strategy: meet force with force. When the Dominion sent 100 ships, the defenders sent their own 100 ships to fight them. But humans had developed a completely different approach to warfare. Instead of matching enemy strength, they had learned to use speed, stealth, and superior technology to defeat larger forces. Look at human military history, Dr. Jiwan explained to Major Wanho. We've always been outnumbered. Vikings against larger kingdoms, small countries against empires, guerrilla fighters against conventional armies. We learned long ago that the biggest force doesn't always win. The intercepted alien communications revealed more about the coming invasion. High Admiral Kethrock would lead the pacification armada personally. It would include ships from all 12 Dominion species, representing nearly 1/3 of their total military power. They're really angry, reported Major Seokjin. The aliens are calling this the largest military operation in their history. Perfect, General Minho replied. The more ships they send, the more we can capture. Capture, sir? Commander Hyun asked. Of course, those ships will be very useful once we've defeated them. As the Dominion prepared their massive fleet, human, military units across the solar system received activation orders. But these weren't the rapid response ships that had fought the first battle. These were the real defenders of Earth. Captain Kyung-soo read his orders aboard what appeared to be an asteroid mining station. Around him, his crew prepared systems that had been hidden for decades. The mining station was actually a massive battleship disguised and waiting. On the moon, Commander Bora activated defense systems built deep underground. What looked like lunar research facilities were actually military bases with weapons powerful enough to destroy entire fleets. Throughout the solar system, seemingly empty space began to show signs of activity. Asteroid fields revealed hidden shipyards. Gas giant moons opened to release fleets of warships. Space debris transformed into weapons platforms. The aliens had made a critical error. They assumed that what they could detect was all that existed. They had never encountered a species that specialized in hiding their true military strength. Soon, High Admiral Kethrock would arrive with the largest fleet in Dominion history, expecting to crush a primitive world with a few dozen ships. He was about to discover that Earth had been preparing for this war much longer than anyone realized, and their preparations went far beyond anything the Dominion could imagine. The 72 hours passed quickly. Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the small blue planet ahead. His fleet of 50 battleships moved forward in perfect formation. 200 support ships followed behind them. This should be finished in a few hours, Vextar told his second-in-command, Commander Zekthan. The primitives have shown no signs of preparing for battle. Yes, Admiral, Zekthan replied. Our scans still show only the same small stations and basic ships. They appear to be hiding behind their planet. Vextar laughed. Cowards. They probably hope we will be merciful if they do not fight back. On Earth, Captain Do-Yoon sat in the command center of what looked like a simple cargo ship. Around him, his crew prepared for battle. But this was no ordinary cargo vessel. Hidden beneath fake hull plating were some of the most advanced weapons and shields ever created by humans. All units, this is Wolf Leader. Do-Yoon spoke into his communication device. The aliens are 20 minutes out. Remember, we want them to think they're fighting our entire fleet. Copy that, Wolf Leader, came the reply from Captain Taehyun. His ship looked like an old mining vessel, but like Do-Yoon's ship, appearances were very deceiving. Lieutenant Yuna checked her weapons systems one more time. Her fighter craft was disguised as a small transport pod. Wolf 3 ready, she reported. The human ships were scattered throughout the solar system, hidden among asteroids and space debris. They had been waiting for weeks, using advanced cloaking, technology that made them invisible to alien scanners. Admiral Vextar's fleet reached the outer edge of Earth's defensive zone. Begin the attack, he ordered. Destroy their pitiful space stations first, then any ships that try to run. The alien battleships opened fire with massive plasma cannons. Bright beams of energy shot toward the human space stations. But something unexpected happened. The beams hit invisible barriers and scattered harmlessly into space. What? Vextar stared at his displays. Their shields absorbed our fire? That's impossible. Sir? His sensor operator called out. I'm detecting new contacts. Ships are appearing all around us. Suddenly, the empty space around the alien fleet filled with human vessels. They seemed to appear from nowhere, their cloaking systems shutting down as they prepared to attack. Captain Do-hyun smiled as his ship's true form was revealed. All units, weapons free. Show them what Earth really has. The battle began with devastating results for the aliens. The human ships were smaller than the alien battleships, but they moved much faster. Their weapons were different too, using focused plasma beams that cut through alien armor like paper. Captain Taehyun's ship danced between two alien battleships, firing precise shots that disabled their engines. Their shields can't handle our frequency modulation, he reported. Just like we thought. Lieutenant Yuna led a squadron of fighters in an attack on the alien command ship. Her small craft moved so quickly that the alien gunners couldn't track them. Wolf 3 to all fighters. Target their communication arrays. Let's make them blind and deaf. The aliens tried to fight back, but they were completely unprepared for human tactics. Their ships were designed to overwhelm enemies with raw firepower, not to fight fast, precise opponents. How are they moving so quickly? Commander Zekthon shouted, as another human ship appeared behind them and destroyed their rear shield generators. I don't know, Vextar replied. Our intelligence said they were primitives. The human fleet worked together like parts of a single machine. When alien ships tried to focus fire on one human vessel, two others would appear and attack from different angles. When the aliens attempted to retreat, human ships were already waiting to cut off their escape routes. Captain Do-hyun watched the battle unfold on his tactical display. The alien fleet was being systematically destroyed. Wolf leader to all units. Good work. Remember, we want some survivors to report back. The battle lasted only 3 hours. Of the 50 alien battleships, 47 were completely destroyed. The remaining 3 were so damaged they could barely move. Most of the support ships had been captured or destroyed as well. Admiral Vextar found himself trapped in his crippled flagship surrounded by human vessels. His proud fleet was gone, defeated by ships he had thought were primitive cargo haulers. A human voice came through his communication system. It was Captain Do-hyun. Admiral Vextar, this is Captain Do-hyun. Of the Earth Defense Force, your fleet has been defeated. Surrender now and your remaining crew will be treated well. This is impossible, Vextar said. You are primitives. Your technology is basic. Admiral, I think you made some wrong assumptions about us, Do-hyun replied calmly. Now, will you surrender, or do we need to finish destroying your ship? With no choice left, Admiral Vextar ordered his remaining ships to surrender. Human boarding parties took control of the damaged alien vessels. The aliens were shocked to see human technology up close. The primitive ships had equipment more advanced than anything in the Dominion fleet. Dr. Sora led a team of scientists onto Vextar's flagship. She looked at the alien admiral with interest. Admiral, we need to understand how many more ships are coming. This was just your first wave, wasn't it? Vextar stared at her. You knew this was only the beginning? Of course, Dr. Sora smiled. We've been watching your empire for years. We know how you operate. You send a small force first, then a bigger one if needed. The alien admiral felt sick. You have been watching us? For years? Admiral, Dr. Sora said gently, you really don't understand what you've gotten yourself into. Meanwhile, one badly damaged alien ship managed to escape the battle. Commander, Kralnex pushed his engines to maximum power as he fled toward Dominion space. He had to warn the High Command about what had really happened. The humans had let him escape on purpose. They wanted the Dominion to know that their first attack had failed. They wanted them to send a bigger fleet. Back on Earth, General Minho received the battle report from Captain Do-hyun. All objectives achieved, sir. The alien fleet is neutralized. We have prisoners and captured technology to study. Excellent work, Minho replied. Now prepare for the next phase. They'll send everything they have after this. Admiral Nari looked worried. Sir, do you think they'll send their entire fleet? General Minho smiled. I'm counting on it. It's time to show them what Earth's real military looks like. The first battle was over, but both sides knew it was just the beginning. The aliens would return with overwhelming force, expecting to crush the humans who had humiliated them. They had no idea that what they had just fought wasn't even Earth's real army. The alarm bells rang through the Earth Defense Command Center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Commander Hyun looked up from his coffee as red lights flashed across the monitoring stations. His team of operators stared at their screens with wide eyes. "Sir, we have multiple unknown contacts approaching the outer solar system," reported Lieutenant Suki, her voice shaking slightly. "They're big, sir. Really big." Hyun walked over to the main display screen. Dozens of bright dots moved steadily toward Earth. The computer calculated their size and speed. Each dot represented a ship larger than anything humans had ever built. There were 50 of them moving in perfect formation. "Get me General Minho," Hyun ordered, "and wake up Admiral Nari. Tell them we have visitors." Within minutes, the top military leaders of Earth were gathered in the command center. General Minho, a tall man with gray hair, studied the incoming fleet. Admiral Nari, smaller but equally serious, checked the readings twice. "How long until they reach Earth?" Minho asked. 18 hours at their current speed," answered Technician Jamin. "But sir, they're slowing down. It looks like they want to talk." As if on cue, every communication system on Earth received the same message. The voice was strange, mechanical, speaking perfect English but with an odd accent. "Primitive species of the third planet. This is Admiral Vextar of the Galactic Dominion Fleet. Your world has been selected for integration into our empire. You have 72 hours to surrender all military forces and prepare for occupation. Resistance will result in total destruction of your species. This is your only warning." The message repeated in every major language on Earth. Then the alien ship stopped moving and waited. General Minho rubbed his chin. "Well, that's direct. Sir, what do we do?" asked Commander Hyun. "Should we prepare for battle?" "Not yet," Minho replied. "First, we need to know what we're dealing with. Get me Captain Jiho and Dr. Sora. We're going to send them a little gift." Captain Jiho was Earth's best pilot. He had flown more dangerous missions than anyone else in the Space Force. Dr. Sora was the planet's leading expert on alien technology, even though she had never seen any real aliens before today. 2 hours later, they sat in a small diplomatic ship heading toward the alien fleet. The ship looked basic from the outside, just a simple transport vessel with basic engines and communication equipment. "Remember," Jiho said to Sora as they approached the largest alien ship, "let me do most of the talking. We want them to think we're just scared primitives." "That shouldn't be hard," Sora replied, looking at the massive alien vessel through the window. "I am actually pretty scared." The alien ship pulled their small craft inside a huge docking bay. As they walked out, they saw their first aliens. Admiral Vextar was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. His officers looked similar but smaller. "So, the primitives come to beg," Vextar said with a laugh. "Good. This will save us time." Captain Jiho bowed slightly. "Great, Admiral. We come seeking peace. Surely there is some way to avoid conflict." "Peace?" Vextar's eyes glowed brighter. "There is peace. You surrender, and we do not destroy your world." "Simple." Dr. Sora stepped forward. "We're just a small planet. We have no military worth mentioning. Why do you need to conquer us?" "Every world must serve the Dominion," another alien officer said. "Your species will work in our factories. Your planet will provide resources. Your soldiers will join our armies." "Soldiers?" Jiho looked confused. "We barely have any soldiers, just some security forces for our space stations." Admiral Vextar looked pleased. "Yes, we scanned your system. A few small stations, some basic ships. Very primitive. This will be easy." The meeting continued for an hour. The aliens explained how the Dominion controlled 12 different species across hundreds of worlds. They had been conquering planets for thousands of years. Earth would just be another addition to their empire. "We have given your species a gift," Vextar said as the meeting ended. 72 hours to prepare. Most worlds get no warning at all. Captain Jiho and Dr. Sora returned to their ship and flew back to Earth. As soon as they were safely away from the alien fleet, Jiho activated a special communication device. Command, this is Jiho. The aliens are exactly what we expected. They've done this many times before. Standard overwhelming force tactics. They think we're completely defenseless. General Minho's voice came through the speaker. Good work. Did they scan your ship? Yes, sir. It showed up as a basic transport just like we wanted. Dr. Sora did great pretending to be scared. Dr. Sora smiled. I wasn't pretending about being scared, but I was definitely pretending about our technology level. Back on Earth, the military leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. Admiral Nari pulled up detailed scans of the alien fleet. 50 battleships, 200 support vessels, she reported. Their weapons are energy-based, probably plasma cannons. Their shields look strong but standard. Their ships are bigger than ours but not more advanced. General Minho nodded. Just like the other species they conquered, they rely on size and numbers, not innovation. Sir? Commander Hyun asked. Should we activate the full defense grid? Not yet, Minho replied. Let's see how they react to just the rapid response units. We want to test their capabilities before we show them ours. Around the world, hidden military bases received coded messages. In underwater facilities, space-based platforms, and disguised installations, crews began preparing for battle. But only a small portion of Earth's true military strength was being activated. The aliens had made their first mistake. They assumed that what they could see was all that existed. They had scanned Earth's system and found some space stations and a few ships. They thought this was humanity's entire military force. They were wrong. As the 72-hour deadline approached, Admiral Vextar prepared his fleet for an easy victory. He had conquered dozens of worlds exactly like this. The primitives would resist briefly, then surrender when they saw the power of the Dominion. But Earth was not like the other worlds. Humans had been preparing for this day for much longer than the aliens realized. The small stations and basic ships the aliens had detected were just the beginning. The countdown to invasion had started, and Admiral Vextar had no idea what was waiting for him. The surrender of High Admiral Kethrock's fleet should have been the end of the conflict. But as the smoke cleared from the massive battle, something unexpected happened. The defeated alien commander demanded to speak with Earth's highest military authority. General Minho agreed to meet with Kethrock aboard the captured Dominion flagship. As he walked through the alien ship's corridors, surrounded by his security detail, he could see the fear in the surviving alien crew members' eyes. Hi. Admiral Kethrock sat in his command chair, his multiple arms bound but his pride still intact. When General Minho entered the bridge, Kethrock stared at the human with a mixture of hatred and confusion. You are their supreme commander? Kethrock asked, studying the relatively small human before him. I am General Minho, commander of Earth's military forces, Minho replied simply. Then answer me this, Kethrock demanded. How many ships do you have? Our intelligence said your species was primitive. Our first scouts found only a few vessels, yet you destroyed my entire fleet with ease. General Minho smiled slightly. Admiral, I think you're asking the wrong question. What do you mean? You're asking about our total military strength, Minho explained. But what you should be asking is, how many of our ships did you actually fight? Kethrock felt a chill run through his body. What are you saying? Admiral, the fleet that just defeated you represents our solar defense force. They're responsible for protecting our home system. Minho paused. They're essentially our local security guards. The alien admiral stared at the human in disbelief. Security guards? That's impossible. We brought 500 capital ships, and you were defeated by our home guard, Minho confirmed. Our actual military is currently deployed in other star systems. Kethrock's mind reeled. Other star systems? How many other systems? That's classified information, Minho replied. But I will tell you this. Earth has been aware of your dominion for much longer than you realize. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from Commander Hyun. General, we're receiving distress signals from multiple Dominion worlds. It appears they're under attack. General Minho activated his portable communication device. Specify, Commander. Sir, we're intercepting emergency broadcasts from at least 12 different Dominion planets. They're reporting attacks by unknown forces using advanced technology. Kethrock listened to this exchange with growing horror. Unknown forces? What unknown forces? General Minho looked at the alien admiral with something resembling pity. Admiral, did you really think you were the only ones preparing for war? Across the galaxy, the Dominion's carefully maintained empire was discovering the true scope of their miscalculation. On the industrial world of Vexcalar, Dominion workers looked up in terror as sleek ships appeared in their skies. These vessels bore the markings of Earth, but they had been stationed in nearby star systems for years. Captain Shungjin commanded the Earth fleet that attacked the Dominion shipyards at Vexcalar. His ships moved with the same precision that had destroyed Kethrock's fleet, systematically disabling the planet's defenses without causing unnecessary casualties. Attention Vexcalar Command, Shungjin broadcast to the planet below. This is Captain Shungjin of the Earth Expeditionary Force. Your orbital defenses have been neutralized. Surrender now, and no harm will come to your population on the Dominion. Communication hub world of Mordeth, Major Yunji led a precision strike against the planet's massive relay stations. The attacks were carefully planned to disable the Dominion's ability to coordinate their remaining forces without destroying civilian infrastructure. Target the military frequencies only, Yunji ordered her squadron. We want them confused, not extinct. Throughout Dominion space, similar attacks were taking place simultaneously. Earth's forces struck at key military installations, communication hubs, and shipyards. But they avoided civilian targets and used minimal force whenever possible. Back in Earth's solar system, High Admiral Kethrock tried to process what he was hearing. You had forces positioned throughout our empire? For how long? Long enough, General Minho replied. Your Dominion wasn't as secret as you thought. Earth has been watching you, studying you, preparing for you for over 20 years. 20 years, Kethrock whispered. We learned about your empire when you conquered the Altair system, Minho explained. We realized it was only a matter of time before you found Earth, so we began preparing. The scope of human preparation was staggering. While the Dominion had been confident in their power, humans had been quietly establishing hidden bases in dozens of star systems. They had studied Dominion tactics, technology, and weaknesses. Major Seokjin's intelligence teams had been monitoring Dominion communications for years, learning about their military movements and strategic plans. When the aliens finally attacked Earth, humans knew exactly where every major Dominion fleet was located. Phoenix Command, this is Strike Force 7, reported Colonel Hyungmin from his position near the Dominion capital system. All targets neutralized. The enemy's main shipyard is offline. Phoenix Command, this is Strike Force 12, added Major Yoon Seo. We've captured the Dominion's advanced research facility intact. Their scientists are cooperating. General Minho listened to the reports coming in from across the galaxy. The simultaneous attacks were proceeding exactly as planned. Years of preparation were paying off. You see, Admiral, Minho said to Kethrock, you made the same mistake that every bully makes. You assumed that your victims were helpless. But we conquered 12 species, Kethrock protested. We are the most powerful force in the galaxy. You were the most powerful force, Minho corrected. Past tense. You conquered species that fought you one at a time, using conventional tactics. You never faced anyone who had been preparing specifically to defeat you. The human strategy had been brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of waiting to be attacked, they had struck first. But instead of trying to destroy the Dominion, they had focused on capturing key infrastructure and isolating Dominion forces. Captain Taehyun led the fleet that surrounded the Dominion capital world. Capital Defense Command, this is Captain Taehyun of Earth's First Siege Fleet. Your planet is surrounded. Order all remaining Dominion forces to stand down. On the bridge of his captured flagship, Kethrock received reports of Earth's attacks throughout Dominion space. Every major military installation was either captured or destroyed. Communication between Dominion worlds had been severed. Their carefully organized empire was falling apart. "How many ships do you have?" he asked General Minho again, his voice barely a whisper. "Enough," Minho replied. "But that's not the important question either." "Then what is?" "The important question is, what happens next?" Minho said. "Your empire is defeated, but your people don't have to suffer. Earth is prepared to offer terms." Kethrock looked up sharply. "Terms? You're not going to destroy us?" "Admiral, we're not conquerors, we're defenders. We fought you because you threatened our world and our freedom. Now that the threat is over, we want peace." The final reports came in throughout the day. In less than 24 hours, the Dominion's military power had been completely neutralized. Their fleets were captured or destroyed, their key installations occupied, and their leadership isolated. But as General Minho had promised, Earth's forces had avoided civilian casualties whenever possible. They had struck at military targets with surgical precision, designed to end the war quickly rather than cause unnecessary destruction. High Admiral Kethrock sat in stunned silence as he realized the full scope of what had happened. The Dominion had thought they were attacking a primitive world with a few dozen ships. Instead, they had triggered a carefully planned response that destroyed their entire empire in a single day. "That fleet you sent to Earth," General Minho said quietly, "that wasn't even our full army. That was just our home guard. Our real military has been waiting in your space for years." The galaxy's most powerful empire had fallen not to superior numbers or better weapons, but to superior planning and strategy. Earth had turned the Dominion's own tactics against them, using overwhelming force applied at exactly the right time and place. As the last Dominion resistance forces surrendered, one fact became clear to everyone involved. Humanity had not just won a defensive war. They had demonstrated a level of strategic thinking and military capability that no species in the galaxy had ever seen before. 3 months after the fall of the Dominion, Colonel Daehyun walked through the halls of what had once been the Empire's greatest prison. Now it served as a temporary holding facility for captured Dominion leaders, while Earth's diplomats worked out the details of surrender. Major Yuna accompanied him, carrying files that contained some of the most important intelligence ever gathered by human forces. They were about to conduct the final interrogation of High Chancellor Mordak himself. "Are you ready for this?" Yuna asked as they approached the secure conference room. "As ready as anyone can be," Daehyun replied. "It's not every day you get to explain to a galactic emperor why his 1,000-year-old empire fell in 24 hours. High Chancellor Mordak sat at the metal table, his 4 eyes dim with defeat. Once the most powerful being in the known galaxy, he now wore simple prison clothes and waited for humans to decide his fate. "Chancellor," Colonel Daehyun said as he entered the room, "thank you for agreeing to this final interview." "I had little choice," Mordak replied bitterly. "Your people have been very thorough in dismantling everything we built." Major Yuna opened her files and spread several documents across the table. "Chancellor, we want to help you understand what happened. Your empire fell because you made some very basic mistakes about humanity." "Mistakes?" Mordak's eyes flared. "We conquered 12 species. We controlled hundreds of worlds." "Yes," Daehyun agreed, "and that's exactly why you lost." The human officers began explaining what their analysis had revealed about the Dominion's defeat. It wasn't just superior technology or better tactics that had destroyed the Empire. It was a fundamental misunderstanding of how humans approached warfare. "Every species you conquered fought you the same way," Major Yuna explained, pointing to captured Dominion records. "They built big fleets, formed battle lines, and tried to match your firepower with their own." "Of course," Mordak said. "That is how civilized species conduct warfare. But humans aren't like other species," Daehyun continued. "We've spent our entire history being outnumbered. Small tribes against larger ones, small countries against empires, resistance fighters against occupying armies. So we learned long ago that the biggest army doesn't always win," Yuna said. "We developed strategies specifically designed to defeat larger, more powerful enemies. Mordak studied the humans across from him. You are saying you prepared for war with us specifically? Not just with you, Daehyun replied. We prepared for war with anyone who might threaten Earth. When we discovered your empire, we realized you fit the pattern perfectly. The humans showed Mordak intelligence reports dating back over 20 years. Earth's deep space monitoring stations had detected Dominion activity long before the aliens knew humans existed. You watched us for 20 years? Mordak asked in disbelief. We watched, we learned, and we prepared, Yuna confirmed. We studied every world you conquered, every battle you fought, every strategy you used. The analysis was devastating. Earth's military planners had identified every weakness in Dominion tactics. They had developed countermeasures for every weapon system. Most importantly, they had recognized that the Dominion's greatest strength was also their greatest weakness. Your empire succeeded because you always had overwhelming force, Daehyun explained. You sent so many ships that resistance was pointless, but that strategy only works when your enemies don't know it's coming. We gave you no warning, Mordak protested. You gave us 20 years of warning, Yuna replied. Every species you conquered taught us exactly how you operate. Meanwhile, in another part of the facility, Ambassador Rayhyun and Dr. Sora prepared for their most important diplomatic mission yet. They were about to address what remained of the Dominion Council via captured communication arrays. Are you sure about this approach? Dr. Sora asked as technicians prepared the transmission equipment. We have to be honest with them, Rayhyun replied. They need to understand the truth if we're going to build a lasting peace. The communication link activated, connecting them to representatives from the 12 species that had made up the Dominion. These aliens sat in scattered locations across the galaxy, their empire in ruins, waiting to learn their fate. Members of the former Dominion Council, Ambassador Rayhyun began. I am Ambassador Rayhyun of Earth. I want to explain to you exactly what happened and why. The alien representatives listened in stunned silence as Rayhyun and Dr. Sora revealed the full scope of human preparation. Earth had not been a primitive world caught off guard by galactic civilization. They had been a military power preparing for inevitable conflict. For over 20 years, Earth has maintained hidden installations throughout this region of space, Dr. Sora explained. We have been watching, learning, and positioning ourselves for the war we knew would come. Impossible, declared General Vorketh from his detention facility on the former Dominion capital. Our sensors would have detected your presence. General, Rayhyun replied gently. Your sensors detected exactly what we wanted them to detect. The humans revealed that Earth's exploration missions had actually been military reconnaissance operations. Every probe sent into deep space, every research station established in remote systems, every scientific expedition to nearby stars had been part of a massive intelligence-gathering effort. We know about every species in your empire, Dr. Sora continued. We've studied your languages, your cultures, your technologies, and your military capabilities. We've been preparing for this war longer than some of your species have been part of the Dominion. The revelation that shocked the aliens most was the scope of human military deployment. The forces that had defeated the Dominion represented only a fraction of Earth's true military power. The ships that destroyed your fleets were our rapid response units and home guard forces, Ambassador Rayhyun explained. Our main battle fleets are stationed in systems you've never heard of, preparing for threats you can't imagine. High Chancellor Mordak, listening from his prison cell, felt the full weight of his empire's failure. You mean the forces we fought were the equivalent of your local police, Colonel Daehyun confirmed. Your most powerful armada was defeated by our security guards. The final piece of the puzzle was the most disturbing for the former Dominion leadership. Earth's military expansion into nearby star systems hadn't been defensive preparation. It had been the early stages of their own expansion plans. You see, Ambassador Rayhyun said to the assembled alien representatives, Earth has been planning our own entry into galactic civilization for decades. We knew that eventually, we would need to establish ourselves as a major power. Your attack simply gave us the excuse to accelerate our timeline, Dr. Sora added. The aliens realized with growing horror that they had not attacked a helpless primitive world. They had attacked an emerging galactic superpower that had been preparing for exactly this scenario. The irony, Ambassador Rayhyun continued, is that if you had approached us peacefully, we probably would have been interested in joining your empire voluntarily. We're not opposed to galactic civilization. We just refuse to be conquered. In the months that followed, Earth's true plans became clear. The hidden installations throughout nearby star systems began revealing themselves. Massive shipyards that had been disguised as asteroid mining operations started producing new fleets openly. The galaxy discovered that humanity had not been hiding from galactic civilization. They had been preparing to join it on their own terms. So what happens now? Mordak asked during his final interview. Now we build something better, Colonel Daehyun replied. The Dominion ruled through fear and conquest. Earth prefers cooperation and mutual benefit. But if any species chooses conquest over cooperation, Major Yuna added quietly, they'll discover that the forces you fought weren't even close to our full military capability. As the former Dominion territories were reorganized into a new galactic federation, one fact became clear to every species in the region. Humanity had not just defeated the most powerful empire in known space. They had done it while holding back the vast majority of their military strength. The message was unmistakable. Earth was now the dominant power in this part of the galaxy, and they had achieved that position while barely trying. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of underestimating the small blue planet at the edge of civilized space. They had learned at great cost that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or their numbers. It was their ability to prepare for wars that hadn't started yet and win them before the enemy even knew they were fighting.